is Sky Sports Live.
Last season, Charlton won here at Anfield, but form suggests they might struggle today. Liverpool are 100% at home in the Premiership. Charlton, away from home, are anything but. And Liverpool start with Sise and Barosh up front together again. We'll be talking to Danny Murphy in a moment. He returns to Anfield. And how will referee Andy D'Urso be feeling? It's his first Premiership game back after suspension. We are at Anfield for the Barclays Premiership meeting of Liverpool and Charlton. Good afternoon, welcome to Anfield. Danny Murphy is back here, and so is our guest. Phil Thompson, of course, was assistant to Gerard Houllier last season. What's it like to be back?
It's always nice to be back in whatever capacity, fan, player, assistant manager or pundit.
What do you make of this Liverpool side this season?
Very good at home. Some fantastic performances from everybody, and yet away from home. So there's a bit of it's not so good. Bit of inconsistency there with them, and I think probably Charlton will be exactly the same.
Now, we mentioned Barosh and Sise starting up front together. Do you think this is a working partnership?
I think they've got to work at it. I think the big thing is everybody's talking about it in the press. It's the players are even going on about it. The manager mentions that he's rooming them together. I think the big thing about it to come out of is the players have to want to work together. That is the big thing, and some of the body language at times doesn't go very well for the both of them. I think they've got to show it that they really want to do it, and on the pitch is the only place that it can really bond.
And what have you made of Charlton? Away from home, their form has just been so poor, so many goals leaked.
That's the big thing. They are a good team. Charlton, they're funny each year. They'll have a good run, then they'll have a bad run or whatever, and Alan Kirby's will be hoping that he's got it out of the way at the moment, but I think that's the big thing, is they've leaked a lot of goals. Yeah, Charlton can say, well, we can lose games 1-0, 2-1 or whatever, but they've been quite hammered against teams. And in fairness, Liverpool away from home have been exactly the same, although they haven't leaked the goals. But, so it should be an interesting game. Charlton's bad away form, Liverpool's great home form.
Yeah, you would have thought so, wouldn't you? We'll find out. Let's find out also about Danny Murphy. How is he feeling as he comes back to Anfield? I've been speaking to him.
To play at Anfield's always a fantastic arena to play in. I've got a lot of friends there, a lot of great memories. Most of my time there was successful. And I think it'll be a really enjoyable day, hopefully with the result that we get with Charlton as well, because I think that's going to be part of the day. If I can go there and actually contribute to a successful day for Charlton, that'll make it even that little bit more special.
Knowing Liverpool fans, you'll probably get a great reception, won't you?
I hope so. I think that they appreciated what I did and what I gave for the club. You know, I was there 7 years. Majority of that time was successful, won quite a few trophies and contributed a few good winning goals that I think they'll appreciate at Old Trafford and Goodison. So I think I'll get a good reception. Yeah, the Liverpool fans usually give the ex-players a good reception, and I'm hoping to get the same.
How big and how difficult a decision was it to leave?
It was difficult because I wasn't actually forced out the door, if you like. I was just made aware that I maybe wouldn't be first choice when the players were brought in that the new manager wanted to bring in, which was honest of him. I didn't like, of course, but I had to make a decision. And I think in most footballers' minds, the priority is playing every week, and that's what I wanted to do. Therefore, I had to make a choice, and the choice was to leave. I chose Charlton because I think it's a club that's on the way up, and I was really looking forward to working with Alan Kirbishley because I think he's a great manager, and I think he'll get the best out of me.
Phil, were you surprised that Danny Murphy was surplus to requirements?
Yeah, I was, and I was quite surprised over Danny's decision. New managers come in, and yes, he said, well, you're not going to be regular. And Danny's had to work hard to stay in all the teams that Gerrard and myself had. But he can be a tremendous influence. And I thought to myself, well, Danny should really have stayed and tried to work himself back into the plans. And I think he'd have done that. So I was quite surprised that he'd go. But Danny can do things like that. Danny, spur of the moment, yeah, I want to go. I want to play regular, I want to be in the side. And I was disappointed for him to see him leave Liverpool.
The manager was at pains to say what a great player Jamie Carragher is. Yesterday, we're talking about him in the press conference. How highly do you rate him?
Carragher's been fantastic. It doesn't matter where Carragher's played, he's very influential to the side. I think which must be stressed since Steven Gerrard has been injured and been out of the side. He has took over the mantle of being the aggressive one, the one with the passion, the one to show if you want the Scouse heart still there in the team. He's been wonderful, and I said to him even just before I left, I had a bit of a chat to him, and I said, Carragher, this is the position you have to make your own at centre-back, because he's a good defender, and I think that's important. I think he's the best defender at the football club. Puts himself where they hurt, and I just think he's been brilliant. His performances of late have been England class, believe me.
Thanks very much indeed, Phil. Let's hear from Mr. Benitez. He's with Mark Bolton.
Sise and Barros up front today. Earlier in the season, you seemed not to be convinced that together they could work. Have you changed your mind?
I hope that they change my mind each game.
You think they have the potential to score those goals that maybe earlier you thought maybe they couldn't?
Yeah, sure. If they score in one game, they will have more confidence, and I'm sure that they can score because they will work hard.
Often when old players come back to their old club, they take the headlines. Danny Murphy's back today. What do you expect from him?
I wish to him all the best for the next game.
Not today, though, obviously.
Not today, obviously.
You're good home form, they're awful away form. This is a must-win game, I expect.
Yeah, but we know that we are very, very strong at home. Then we want to move the ball, to pass the ball quick. And we know that they are strong also away. Then we need to be aware and be careful.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Here are the scores from the Premiership so far today, some significant ones. Aston Villa 2, Fulham 0, Solano and Hendry with the goals. Chelsea 4, Blackburn 0. First time they've beaten Blackburn at home in the Premiership. Gudjonsson scoring a hat-trick, one of them a penalty. That's his first hat-trick in England. Crystal Palace beating West Bromwich Albion comfortably. Andy Johnson with 2 goals inevitably. He's got 7 in the Premiership. He's just behind Thierry Henry now. An earlier match, Norwich 2, Everton 3. Everton's 4th away win this season keeps them 3rd. They did go 2nd for a time, and Tottenham 1, Bolton 2. Henrik Pedersen with his 6th goal of the season getting the winner for Bolton, and a sad day all round for Tottenham with the news earlier this morning, the death of Bill Nicholson at the age of 85. Remember, he won the double with Spurs in 1961. Here's the table then as it stands this evening. Arsenal still on top. They've got a pretty important game tomorrow at Manchester United. Chelsea back in 2nd, 2 points behind them. Everton, as I say, they were 2nd. They're now 3rd. Liverpool in 8th. They could climb a few places if they win this evening. At the bottom, well, certainly the most significant result has got to be Crystal Palace's. That win today against West Bromwich Albion means they climb to 15th from the bottom of the table. They are certainly having a much better season than they were in the early part of it. Phil Thompson is our guest this afternoon. As we look ahead to the match, your prediction, it should be an easy Liverpool win, shouldn't it?
Well, I would think so. I've seen most of the games at home this season, and Liverpool have been quite exhilarating. Great stuff, Garcia and Alonso and everything, and I would think if Charlton will want to keep them out for the first 20 minutes, but I can see Liverpool winning the game.
Let's go to our commentators then and find out what happens. Here's Brian Marwood alongside Martin Tyler.
Thanks, Ian. We're getting a traditional anthem being sung behind us. Traditional weather here in this traditional stadium. Brian is chucking it down.
It is, but I think it'll make for a good football match. I think it'll be a very slippery surface, and it'll be very true, and it'll make the game very quick, and I think that'll certainly suit Liverpool.
Let's look at the Liverpool team. They're forced into one change with the suspension of Hossamy. His place goes to Steve Finnan, who missed out against his old club at Fulham last week because of injury. And Xabi Alonso, as expected, starts after his second half showing as a substitute, played a big part in that turnaround at Craven Cottage.
Well, we've heard Rafa Benitez wanting more consistency from his team this week, Martin, but that has not stopped them being very impressive here at Anfield. I think Charlton will come here organised with a good work ethic, so Liverpool will need to be patient and creative, and that's why I think this midfield four is so important today. Garcia and Alonso give the side good creativity and imagination, and while the front two have still to settle into an effective partnership in their own right, they are strikers of great quality.
Well, it is the same Charlton 11 that started last Sunday's draw with Newcastle, though Alan Kirbishley admits he's still searching for the right blend. Danny Murphy's name, of course, very central to that Charlton team, signed from Liverpool in the summer.
Done well of late in the league, and as a club a real benchmark for sides who've not got the financial clout of the big teams. I mentioned earlier, Martin, about that midfield area being crucial, so Stewart, Holland, Murphy, Romadal are going to have to protect the back four and make sure Liverpool don't dictate matters from that area of the field. However, goals have been hard to come by for the front two, and with Liverpool only conceding one in the league at home, this could be a very difficult evening for Charlton.
Liverpool with their 100% home record, the only one in the Premiership, with only the first quarter of the league season gone, and indeed after the Brentford result this afternoon, Liverpool's 100% home record is the only one in the top four divisions of English football. Charlton, though, the last side to take 3 points from Anfield back in April. Not only have they not won away since then, but their recent record is distinctly unencouraging, losing 4-1 at Bolton and 4-0 at both Manchester City and Arsenal. Charlton trying to rediscover that backbone that made them so competitive in their away games in the previous campaign. Danny Murphy had 7 years here with Liverpool. He hasn't lost his love for the club, except, of course, for the next 90 minutes or so. Reds lending their voice to the kick racism out of football, showing racism, the red card. That's part of the message here at Anfield this evening.
We're at Anfield on Sky Sports tonight for Liverpool against Charlton in the Barclays Premiership. We are interactive. Press the red button to access any of these screens available, as always. But before we kick off tonight, we'll have a minute's silence. It's Liverpool's first chance to pay their respects to the murdered hostage, Ken Bigley.
Liverpool mascot this afternoon, 11-year-old Gareth Wilkins, who's from Bournemouth. And also thanks to our young people who are carrying the Kick Racism Out banner for us this afternoon. You'll see them again at half-time, the children of St Sebastian's Catholic Primary School. If I could just have your attention, ladies and gentlemen, for a few words this afternoon. A few things we want you to remember in a moment of silence in a second. One of the all-time great football managers who took Spurs to success in the early 60s, Bill Nicholson of Tottenham Hotspur, sadly passed away this morning. I'd also like you to remember we have a lot of people at this game this afternoon from Ireland, and I'm sure you'll join me in wishing for the speedy release of Dublin-born Margaret Hassan, currently held captive in Iraq. And of course, in Liverpool, we can identify with this situation all too painfully as we still feel shock at the brutal murder of Mr. Ken Bigley. The players, directors and staff of Liverpool Football Club would like all supporters, please, to observe a period of silence in memory of and in sympathy for the family of Mr. Ken Bigley.
It's the Premiership, it's Liverpool against Charlton, and here's Brian Marwood and Martin Tyler.
Thanks, Ian. Sean Bartlett brought Charlton the points here on Easter Monday last season. The South African returned to the side last Sunday after several weeks out with a damaged ankle. And the other half of a Charlton double over Liverpool was secured by a Kevin Lisbie hat-trick at the Valley. But things have moved on since then, certainly in the change of management and some personnel at Liverpool. There's a little bit being made of Liverpool's poor results, just 1 win in 10 on the weekend after European midweek action. Those figures are somewhat misleading, because that 1 win came on the only occasion that both the European game and the subsequent league match were both at Anfield, as is the case in this particular week. They didn't take their chances against Deportivo on Tuesday. They have been taking their chances in the Premiership on home territory. Barosh. Didi Hamann. Luis Garcia starting on the right. He's been particularly impressive in the matches in his short time with Liverpool. Having been played at Anfield, it's found it a little more difficult to make that sort of impression on the away games, but they're starting to really take him to their Liverpudlian hearts here.
Well, you and I were talking about the impact of foreign players in the Premiership, and I think we both agreed you need to give them time, but certainly when I've seen Garcia and Alonso at times already, and there's been a small number of games played in the Premier League, they've been pretty impressive, and certainly the range of passing that Alonso seems to have within his game, Martin, I think he's going to be a massive success here.
Little triangle, Carragher, Hamann, Finnan. Finnan's cut back, and there's Garcia. It's a sight of goal with a diving header.
That's a good chance. Finnan did superbly well on the right-hand side, but just have a look at the movement of Garcia there. He makes sure that Finnan has that space to run into, gets himself in the box. Perhaps if he'd had a little bit more belief about the header he's just about to make, then he'd have got a lot closer than that. That's a good chance.
He has scored a couple already in his short time with Liverpool. Traore. And then Radisson not only getting the ball but pushing on. Drilled into the feet of Lisbie, but he took it back into trouble. The flag didn't go up. Maybe it would have done if Bartlett had got the ball under control.
Well, I think that perhaps Finnan was a little bit slow coming out there, Martin, and perhaps just got the referee's assistant in two minds as that ball, very clever ball it was by Danny Murphy, played to Sean Bartlett.
Luke Young retreating, and Riise has got the better of him, but he wants to hit it with his left foot, and that's allowed Young to recover.
Well, John Arne Riise is just apologising to Sise there. It's a fabulous ball, he takes it well. Unfortunately, Luke Young has certainly got indecision but then recovers reasonably well. Doesn't have to do an awful lot there to just shepherd the ball to safety. But that's a big chance again for Liverpool, and that's two very early in this game.
Barosh, who'd taken the corner, partly away by a fortune. Barosh, whose style is often head down and run at the opposition. Trying to do something similar is Kevin Lisbie. He's given it away back to Luis Garcia. Charlton have been tallying up and studying for this game the number of deflected goals that Liverpool have scored this season, which suggests a willingness to shoot from outside the area, as Barosh was shaping to do just a moment or two ago. Of course, they got back into contention at Craven Cottage after a very poor first half against Fulham last weekend, with a massive deflection off that night from a Barosh speculative shot.
Well, you know, if you don't buy a ticket, you don't win the lottery, do they? And it was interesting what Tomo said at the top about the fact that they've both got to want to look to play with each other a little bit more, and their body language at times suggests that perhaps they don't feel comfortable as a partnership. But as I said at the top, in their own right, they've got a terrific record.
Murphy closed down quickly by Javi Alonso. Chris Perry's back pass, Team Kylie quickly out to meet it. He needed to be so. There's extra water on the pitch, not caused by the sprinklers, but by the heavens in the last hour or so. Riise, Barosh breaks back the Norwegian's way, pressed by Graham Stewart. He started on the right. I think, Brian, the idea is for Romadar with his pace maybe to try and get at Steve Finnan, with Liverpool having to make a change at right back.
Yeah, you can understand that. You know, Romadal does have pace. It's whether Charlton can get him in an advanced area, but they won't want to see him defending like that. No,
and Finnan has got plenty of capacity to go forward from right back. I think that's what attracted Liverpool to signing him. Jamie Carragher was playing that position, a great defender, but maybe not as adventurous as the style that Finnan has. Carragher, of course, is embedded into the team as a central defender very much in his own right. Murphy gives it away. Luis Garcia, and Fortune perhaps didn't need to play. That comes back for Luis Garcia and turned aside by Kylie. It's a bit of a chapter of errors from Charlton's point of view.
Well, they're living on the edge at the moment, Martin, aren't they, Charlton? You know, it's a sloppy ball from Danny Murphy, and Garcia very fortunate to get it back a second time, but that's two chances he's had in the space of 5 minutes.
Now he takes the corner. Barosh comes out for the short one. Back to Luis Garcia again. Sise had a swing at it. Riise has put it wide. He's not scored for over 18 months, Jonana Riise, which is a bit of a surprise given his buccaneering style. He could have scored a couple already today, Luis Garcia.
Well, we talked about him being an exciting talent. The first one was a header, the second one's a terrific left-footed volley. Dean Carley does very well to make the save. And Charlton can feel very fortunate that it's still 0-0, because Liverpool really have come out of the traps quickly. We talked about it being a very fast, quick surface because of the rain that's fallen here on Merseyside, and it really is suiting the home side.
Liverpool seeking a second successive Premiership win, something they've not yet managed for Rafa Benitez. Chris Kirkland is challenged here by Bartlett. Fourth game back for Chris Kirkland after another enforced absence. He's won one, drawn one and lost one in the 3 so far. Up towards Sise. It's the better of Fortune. It's been a good day for the blue side of Merseyside already, with that win at Norwich earlier in the day. Liverpool, of course, are pretty well placed. They've got a game in hand, but they're not so well placed here. But Bartlett doesn't make the most of a half chance, maybe a bit more than that. Finnan. But an open field to the opening exchanges here. Barosh looking to work with Sise. Well, Thompson was saying earlier that what's been reported up here, that Rafa Benitez thinks that maybe Barosh and Sise need to develop a friendship off the field. as well as working together on it, or trying to work together on it. It's not really been a duo as yet in the true sense of the striking partnerships. Xabi Alonso, Barros. Back came Romadal. Kylie can't prevent the corner.
Well, all partnerships need time to work, Martin, and I'm sure Rafa Benitez is now prepared to give Sise and Barros the opportunity to play together. And it's probably been a little bit frustrating, but let's not forget, Sise's got 3 goals this season and Barros has got 4, so individually it's not a bad return.
There's a chance for more here. Oh, Sami Hyypiä, free header, and he's hit the side netting with a second attempt.
Well, how's that stayed out? That had goal written all over it, and how Sami Hyypiä's got the time and room, and it's amazing. Guess who it is? Danny Murphy on the post, where exactly how he should be. And Sami Hyypiä's, well, header finds him. He doesn't have an awful lot of work to do other than just make sure that he gets his body in the way, and he doesn't really have to work hard for that, Sami Hyypiä. And Charlton, as we've said already on a number of occasions, can be very grateful that it's still 0-0.
Well, that's a failure in Charlton's marking. They know Dean Kiley's style of goalkeeping. He does stay on his line. Even a chance for Liverpool's first headed goal of the season. Sami Hyypiä had not won in at a crucial stage in this fixture 2 years ago when they were 1-0 down with 4 minutes to go. He levelled it and Liverpool won the match. Young. Murphy. Luke Young again. Bartlett, and the flag goes up against Lisby.
I have to say, Sean Bartlett's done very well. That ball has been thrown up to him on 3 or 4 occasions. He's actually worked incredibly hard against the 2 centre-backs, Carragher and Hyypiä, and he's won his fair share of headers. And if Lisby can be bright enough to stay on side, there's a lot of space to get in behind this Liverpool back 4.
Xabi Alonso. Ball with a cutting edge to it. Riise trying to measure the cross. And followed first by Fortune and then by Young to give Charlton a little bit of breathing space, but that's a precious commodity at the moment because Liverpool are coming at them in waves. Harman, Barros, Riise. He's trying to battle his way through, picked up by Perry. Andy D'Urso, we haven't mentioned him, we should do. It's comeback day for the referee, who was given and has served a 28-day suspension for giving Blackburn's Barry Ferguson 2 yellow cards in the same game, but not sending him off at Southampton in August.
Certainly going to have to get the wall right here, Dean Kiley, because Alonso does have the ability from this sort of distance. Sise there fancies a little bit of the action.
Well, Didi Harman is to set it up for Djibril Sise. Oh, post inside of it.
Absolutely incredible. Well, he shouldn't hang his head in shame because it's a terrific strike.
Charlton on the brink again. Finnan. Traore. Murphy gets a tackle in. Brief respite. Alonso once more. Carragher. A watching brief really from the back. Traore able to come forward. Riise style. Riise has joined those in the middle. It's just over his head. Holland gets to it. Then Stewart. Luis Garcia not so good with the right foot. Almost runs for Riise. No sort of clearance by Young. In goes Traore. Barros has put it wide.
Well, Charlton are renowned for their togetherness, their spirit, their organisation, and they're needing all that at the moment because I have to say Liverpool have had lots of chances and they've been very good chances, and that's another one that goes begging. But this is a strike from Sise. Really just catch it well. There's a deflection there and Dean Kiley isn't anywhere near it. Such is the pace of this strike and the deflection. and thankfully, once more for Charlton, it's a let-off.
Sise with the power there that made him the top scorer in France for 2 of the last 3 seasons. Made him a target for the previous manager, Gerard Houllier, of course, who got his man. And when Sise arrived, he found that the man who called for him was no longer the manager here, but Rafa Benitez, happy to play him and recognise what he can bring to a group of players that are obviously finding their way with so many changes. Liverpool and Charlton have made changes as well, and just not getting the balance right. But Stewart puts in a good cross here. It needs Harman to get a foot to it. Comes out to Riise, optimistic.
Ambitious as well, it has to be said. But Charlton just need to settle, keep together. Worrying moments for the Charlton boss, Alan Kirbishley. Talking there to his assistant Mervyn Day, and it's very difficult at times. You know, they are a well-organised side, but when the other team play very well in the manner in which Liverpool are playing right now, you know, you have to dig in, and you just hope that your time comes within the football match. And you know, Charlton will be hoping that they can just keep it like this for a little longer and try and frustrate the home team.
Actually, Charlton started a lot better at Highbury than they've started today. Once Arsenal got into the groove in the second half of that game, it was that unstoppable style. Liverpool, and it's no exaggeration, even inside the first 15 minutes, could really have put this game to bed.
Well, at times you can't afford to miss chances at this level. But you have to think that there's still more chances to come.
Riise. Barros behind him. Maybe he was aiming for Luis Garcia.
John Riise has just paid the price on 2 occasions now, Martin, for not having a go with his right foot. You think at this level, I mean, we know about the quality of his left, but he should be more than capable of having a go from situations like that.
We know about the quality of the Premiership match ball as well. If you hit it right, even with a swinger, it can fly. But Riise hasn't been prepared to take that risk, and it's been a bit surprising given the shooting position that he really was in on both occasions. Untidy from Herpia on Lisby. And Lisby, incidentally, still trying to claim the Charlton goal against Newcastle last Sunday. The television pictures probably shouldn't be used in evidence. Talk about Charlton needing to bed their new players, and Dennis Rommedahl coming with a big reputation from Dutch football as a Danish international, almost 50 caps, and he'll need maybe a few more games, but a great setting for him here.
I think you're right, Martin. You know, he's very, very pacey, and it's a great commodity to have in the Premiership these days, but at the moment he's having to really support the rest of that midfield, because Liverpool have been dominant in that area, starting from Riise on the left all the way over to Garcia on the right.
Carragher. Now Traoré is getting a run in the team, having been a fringe player for a couple of years. Tackles like that, he'll stay in the team. Harman, it's short for Xabi Alonso, but he managed to dig out the pass, and there's room for Fidden. Way away on the halfway line, incidentally, is Rommedahl. Oh, and it's Barros! Another chance when he was unmarked, and he's put it straight at Kylie.
Well, I think you now begin to think that it's past the stage of being unlucky, and that's sloppy finishing. You know, we've seen a couple of chances that have gone begging, and we're thinking, well, a mixture of Graham Stewart clearing off the line and a little bit of good fortune, but now they've had 6 really good chances. There's 7 attempts on goal, but 6, you'd have to say, should really have been converted into goals. And this is where it'll be very frustrating for Rafa Benitez, because he's seen his side play exceptionally well. But they've got no goals to show from it, and that's what it's all about.
Harman, fortune. The onside here is Kevin Lisby. He's got a good turn of foot. He hasn't taken the ball with him. And Carragher's been in imperious form recently at the back for Liverpool. On nicely from Luis Garcia. back through midfield to front. But again, that finish that is lacking. It's all that's lacking really for Liverpool. But here's Romadal trying to open it up for Stewart, former Everton player, of course. He's being reminded of that by one or two with good memories around the stadium. Crossed by Young. Murphy. Romadal. There's no real angle for that to keep Bartlett onside.
It's better possession though, isn't it, from Charlton Athletic, and they need a little bit more of that, Martin, because every time there's a red shirt gets the ball, it seems to result in it going up the field, and there's a chance for the home team.
There's another member of the Charlton party who'd love to get out here today with strong Merseyside connections, Franny Jeffers. That's, of course, of Everton. He scored at Anfield for Everton. He's been sent off at Anfield for Everton. And he's a Charlton substitute today. Bartlett heading on. Traore reclaiming. Xabi Alonso. Very tight on Sise, and he's very good when he gets sort of limpet-like grip on an attacker. Charlton need to come to grips with the challenge all over the pitch here. They've been riding their luck at Anfield so far. And here comes Barosh again, trying to drive beyond Perry, who had to time that tackle to the nth degree, really.
Well, good defending, but perhaps Luis Garcia was in a better position. Milan Barosh had got his head up a little bit earlier. Once again, showing good running power, very committed to get in behind the defender. As you rightly said, Chris Perry watched the ball very carefully, and he needed to be.
Is occupational hazards for centre-backs. Usually male models, one or two exceptions. Riise can't get that.
I had an interview with Chris Perry on the radio this morning. I didn't realise he's a big baseball fan. Well, certainly Liverpool have had plenty of strikes on goal, that is for sure, but at the moment they're still hanging in there.
And it's the Red Sox who should be in front here. By Herpia. Flick out by John Fortune to catch Barosh. Move wide to Luis Garcia by Sise. Xabi Alonso. What Liverpool have got to be careful about is not to lose some of the pace of their early play that really ripped Charlton apart. Murphy, who did spend some time pre-season with Liverpool. I think he went to the United States with them before he made that decision to move, even though Rafa Benitez said he could stay and fight for a place. So he knows a little bit about the management techniques of those who are now on the Liverpool bench.
I can understand Danny Murphy. I think it was purely down to wanting first-team football. I think that was the reason why he didn't want to go to Spurs, who also showed an interest.
Laid off by Lisby. Stewart. Here's Murphy. Not the best first touch, so there was no second touch. Barosh coming behind Haridason, drawing Perry out of the middle. And Sise stopped by Holland.
Well, I'm not sure why Dibrel Sise looks to try and bring that down with his foot, because he must know that a defender is going to be putting him under pressure. This time a striking partner, Barros, finds him, but that's what you've really got to look for, a header in situations like that. I can't believe he thinks he's going to get the sort of time to bring the ball under control.
Even after this match, Liverpool have a game in hand over almost all their rivals. And Rafa Benitez says they're only really about 60% of what he wants to achieve in terms of the shape of the team, the power of the collective effort. So if there's another 40% to come, that sounds good from Liverpool's point of view. It's getting that 40%, of course, that is the challenge.
Certainly won't want to see the sight of one of their influential defenders, Chris Perry, at this stage, given the amount of pressure that they've been under. But it's an accidental clash. I think Sise catches him on the way through.
Chris Perry made his senior debut against Liverpool for Wimbledon 10 years ago now. He's never been in a winning side at Anfield. Tomorrow, double header for you. Southampton against Birmingham. Both sides looking for the points there. Sky Sports 1, we start at 1. And followed up by Manchester United against Arsenal, which of course we're all awaiting with massive interest. There's plenty of interest about this game here. Liverpool looking at Manchester United and Arsenal as two clubs up where they expect to be themselves, and haven't been as championship winners since 1990. It would be remiss of me not to point out yet again they have won more English titles than any other club. That lead has been whittled down. First they'd on 18 for a long time, 18 championships. Manchester United 15 now.
Well, they're desperate to recreate those incredible times here at Anfield, and is Rafa Benitez the man to do that? Gerard Houllier got close for a period of time, very successful, winning the championship.
Yes, he took Liverpool to a runners-up spot a couple of years ago, which remains their best Premiership placing. Murphy encouraging Riise to put it out. Luis Garcia caught in the face.
It's Herman Hradisson that the incident took place with. Garcia just trying to make a forward run, and Hradisson, quite the force there. It looks as if he's stuck out an elbow to prevent Garcia going past him, but fortunately the game can continue. Garcia back up on his feet. It's interesting now that Rafa Benitez is playing him wide right, because he started the season just behind one of the strikers, and again a very effective type player. He's very busy, very lively.
Well, he took that very philosophically, I must say. He's a bit all arms and legs, Herman Hradisson.
Yeah.
And he's a tough competitor as well. He won't have enjoyed this first 26 minutes or so, with Charlton very much on the back foot. And very fortunate to be at 0-0. Of course, it is a Liverpool side without the skipper, Steven Gerrard. He was watching here, and we'll be watching at Old Trafford tomorrow as one of our studio guests. Stewart.
I've just got the feeling, Martin, that the pace has just gone out of Liverpool's game at the moment. They started so well, created chance after chance. Should have converted at least 2 of those chances that came their way, but Charlton just seemed to have subdued the home side a little bit, and that will please Alan Kirbishley a little bit more than from what he was seeing in the first 15-20 minutes.
Well, he's gone back upstairs again, which tells you he's a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
Sise and Barosh both pressed to work in their own half. Stewart, the diagonal, and seen as a push by Sean Bartlett. It's a move that encouraged Luke Young, who scored a couple of goals this season. He went galloping forward, reacting, taking a risk, taking a gamble, if you like, that Bartlett might knock it down, which he did. Unfortunately for Young and for Charlton, the whistle had gone. Traore. Another weak header by Fortune, with a strong tackle by Holland. Danny Murphy saying after the Newcastle game how much he enjoyed playing a full game at last with Matt Holland, who was injured very early in Charlton's opening game. 4-1 defeat at Bolton.
Well, they've got a lot of experience, haven't they, in there, Matt Holland and Danny Murphy. Very good technical players, and I'm sure Alan Kirby should be hoping that he can see them on the ball a little bit more, because up to now Alonso and Haman have dictated that area of the field.
Well, they'll be a bit happier about that, Charlton. Jamie Carragher trying to knock a rather speculative long ball. There was none of that in the opening fast and furious 15 minutes in which Charlton were carved apart by Liverpool. But Dean Kylier and a post and some bad finishing.
Yeah, I said at the top though, Martin, that midfield area was always going to be crucial today, and Liverpool won that midfield area in the first 15 minutes. But you get the feeling now that Murphy, Holland, Stewart in particular have seen the ball a little bit more, and that can only be good now for Charlton.
Perry. Remember, Charlton conceded 4 goals on 3 occasions away from home already this season, and they certainly could have conceded 4 already here. But it hasn't happened. There are days like that. And sometimes as a team, when you do ride your luck, you start to believe a bit more, and you can have one of those days in the right sense. Traore. They've only got to the 1/3 mark in the match at 0-0, the London club.
Just looking below me, Mervyn Day got up off his seat and applauded the tackle from Luke Young. And sometimes there's little incidents like that in a football match, Martin, that inspire the rest of the team. And you know, if you can make good, determined challenges, you know, it seems to have a good effect on everybody else around you.
Sise, it's another brilliantly timed tackle by Perry, not textbook technique, but the end product was 100%. And here's Ramadan, and Bartley's given offside. He knocks it down for Lisby. He might have gone for goal, but it was academic in any case.
Well, the problem is, once Dennis Ramadan comes inside, that really is the signal for the back four to come out. And it's very difficult then for strikers to make a forward run, because you're almost delaying the cross. They're looking for Ramadan really to get the byline and try and bring something back with his left foot. And so far, he always looks to favour his right.
Luis Garcia. Here is Ramadan, not allowed to use his pace because Xabi Alonso spotted the danger. Such a great user of the ball, the Spanish midfield player. Haman. Now Traore. Barosh. This has wandered infield again. Haman, this is Riise for Barosh. And Perry scrapes it away from Riise. Murphy, Ramadan. Lisby got past Finnan, but only showed it to Carragher, and then it's a free kick conceded by the former Liverpool man, Danny Murphy.
One of the other problems, Martin, with the running of Barros is he's coming off Sise into a hole really that Charlton are struggling to pick him up, and he's taking some very intelligent positions.
It's a good turn by Lisby, and good work with the ball as well to get past Alonso. Stewart to the right and Young as well. Now Holland. Good take by Young. Lisby hesitated a little bit, but Fortune favoured him. Murphy noses the ball onto the left-hand side, but he couldn't get it there the way he would have wanted. Charlton still had possession, and they didn't really manage a moment like that. Disappointing though it was at the end in the first frightening 15 minutes for them. And they were chasing and looking like conceding. They might concede here. It was a ball that deserved attacking from Yonan Riise. Played into space by the back post.
Yeah, it was clever, but it came about Danny Murphy giving the ball away in an important area. And Charlton just can't afford to do that, because when they do, Liverpool are hitting them very quickly.
Well, who's picking up Herpier this time? It's Riise. Got away with the earlier one. Variation on the theme. Oh, that was deliberately. Riise didn't seem to be ready for it, if it was. Goes back to Luis Garcia's way. With some emphasis by Jimmy Traore. Barosh. Now Luis Garcia. Alonso's given it away. Grouped up a little more effectively then. Romadal, Murphy. A trick to get out of trouble. Some good balance on the ball as well. He was surrounded. Lisbeth. And this is Sise.
Well, it was in between, wasn't it? Neither a shot nor a cross. I'm sure that if he got more goals under his belt, then we may well have seen a better effort here from Sise. And he really is looking across the face of the goal. He almost does the right thing in many respects, but once again, another chance goes begging.
Talking about the bonding in the players, Rafa Benitez sent them off karting, and Sami Herpier, who looks too big to get into a cart.
I was going to say.
He won it, but of course he comes from the land of Kimi Räikkönen and Mika Häkkinen.
Must have had a bus or something.
Well done, Sami. He wants to be winning football matches, and Liverpool should be winning this game. Holland. Now Finnan. Riise letting it run, but I don't think it could have been on a call from Sise. Stewart. Just under-hit the pass, tempting Sami Herpier in to make a successful challenge. And that's short from Murphy. And here's Sise. It comes to Barosh. Via the deflection. But again, off target. Liverpool again. Danny Murphy on a ground he knows only too well was responsible for Charlton losing the ball.
Well, you have to say another great chance, and Sise is going absolutely ballistic with Milan Baros. Very fortunate how Baros gets this in the first place, but have a look at the position of Sise. Perhaps a cooler head, a little bit more composure from Milan Baros. He might just have squared that into the path of Sise. I'm looking now at the scoreboard, 36 minutes gone, Liverpool 0, Charlton 0, and I don't think anybody in this ground or watching it on TV can actually believe their eyes.
Ball forward for Liverpool here. Luis Garcia, held up momentarily by Young. Riise, Barosh. Riise's cross. Sise! And a difficult ball to strike. It was a beautiful cross in that it dropped over Riise into the range of Sise.
A wonderful flight on it, didn't it, from John Arne Riise? It really was teasing, but enough confidence to take it first time, Sise. And again, perhaps a little bit more composure. You know, a first touch takes him in on goal. But a lot of attempts without any goals to show. And their play in this first half really has been outstanding. However, the scoreline is still 0-0, and that will be worrying Benitez somewhat, because he knows that his side, if it stays like this at half-time, are going to have to pick up the same sort of pace in the second period. And all the teams have problems with that. Murphy.
It's a good pass this time to Young, supported by Stewart. Liverpool pressing well as a unit. It's getting them possession back. And Rafa Benitez did wonderful work with Valencia, taking them to 2 championships and the UEFA Cup. It's a really impressive list of achievements to bring into the English game.
Well, he made them a very fashionable side, isn't he? You know, in the shadows, if you like, for so long, with Real Madrid and Barcelona dominating Spanish football, and then Benitez. Interesting when he saw his track record before he went to Valencia as well, because he wasn't with any big clubs, and yet he created wonderful success.
As he had a spell at Tenerife, where he came across Luis Garcia, who had an outstanding season, by far the best season of his career, incidentally. And hoping to recreate some of that here to the benefit of Liverpool Football Club.
There's a few of them fancy a spell in Tenerife, I think, isn't it?
There's a few that fancy a spell playing for Liverpool. The great tradition of this football club, of course. The future looking bright as well, with a new ground. The plans seem to be in place. I'm not quite sure with local authorities, but I seem to have given the green light to a development not just a long clearance away from here at Stanley Park. As we understand it, Brian, it will be a Liverpool-only ground, not a suggestion that they will be sharing with Everton.
Yeah, there's great discussion, isn't there, that if you're going to have a new stadium and you've got two big sides in a city, should you bring them under one roof? Well, I'm sure that there will be a lot of Everton and Liverpool fans who will oppose that idea, and that looks as if it's not going to happen anyway.
Business interests might prevail, of course, but the understanding also is it will be called Anfield. Arsenal, please note. Here's Riise. Mohamedal's cross, and Kirkland hasn't dealt with it. But, the whistle has gone to bail out the Liverpool goalkeeper.
It's the referee's assistant that spots something here, because his flag goes up, but the goalkeeper, who has only really just got back into the side, didn't look that confident, and not really sure what an awful lot going on there. Perhaps just the arm there of Lisby across the midriff. Chris Kirkland did enough to persuade the referee's assistant it was an infringement, but they seem to get the benefit of the doubt, goalkeepers, don't they?
He's only 5 minutes away from addressing the players in the dressing room, but he's down at touchline level again, the Charlton boss.
What he's done, Martin, is he's pulled Sean Bartlett into a wide right position and making 5 in midfield, and just trying to see out the first half now, leaving Kevin Lisby up front on his own.
Yeah. Sise's free kick. Still the best Liverpool effort for the first half, in which they've had regular sightings of the Charlton goal. And then Barrosh still hasn't quite recaptured the mood of Euro 2004. And of course he was the leading scorer in that European tournament. Hopia. Stewart, it's awkward for Holland. Carried forward by Fortune, turning Finnan. Insensibly backpedaling. It's always a danger if defender and goalkeeper get too close to each other in those circumstances. Murphy to Young. It's a less racy finish at the first half than the start. Andy D'Urso will be pleased to have bedded himself back into refereeing at the top level, taking his punishment on the chin.
Well, what he didn't want is a game with too many controversial decisions, and that's exactly what he's got. You know, there's no been any missed time tackles, players of either side, so it's been quite a relatively calm one for the referee to deal with. Another little tactical change. They've swapped Bartlett and Lisby over now, so any ball that does go up to that central area, then Bartlett's going to be perhaps a little bit better from an aerial point of view than Kevin Lisby. We'll be hoping they can use Lisby's pace as an outlet on this right-hand side.
Yes, and Lisby's played as a wide right player, even in a 4 in the past. But here's Matt Holland, who hasn't had many opportunities to get forward from midfield, and he's a bit isolated as he does then. Traore. Been interested in Riise's role on the left-hand side. He's certainly not got chalk on his boots. He's wandered infield as though he's got the licence to do that.
I've been very impressed with the mobility of the 4 midfield players and the front two. I think they've popped up in various areas which has made it very difficult for them to mark.
Hammered across by Harman. Just waited Andy D'Urso to see whether there was any advantage for Charlton. Xabi Alonso, I think, thought by that weight that he was okay, but he's pegged back. And Charlton happy to use up every extra second that they can to get to half-time at 0-0. Rommedahl has perhaps other ideas, and not a shortage of Charlton players in the middle, but not wanting to cross it with his left foot. And those Charlton players have now got to scurry back in pursuit of Sise in particular. He's got it to Luis Garcia, and some of the Charlton players had given that up as gone. Sise certainly hadn't.
I think some of the Liverpool players have given that up as gone as well. A fantastic pace from Sise. I think everybody thought, well, that's going to run out for a goal kick, and he somehow manages to keep the ball in play. Just have a look at all the players there in vision. Everybody almost just stops and thinks, no, that's going to go out, that's going to be a goal kick, and somehow produces a ball into the box that Garcia isn't far away from converting.
Here comes Sise wide right again. Rommedahl's got the pace to stay with him. We're coming to added time before half-time. There'll only be a minute of that. Mark Halsey telling us the details.
Added time at the end of the first half. 1 minute.
Well, the worry for Rafa Benitez, not some of the quality that Liverpool have shown, but the fact that some of the tempo has dropped. Mind you, maintaining the way they started the game would have been difficult. It was high pedigree stuff. Charlton had half an hour at Highbury where they then conceded a soft goal, and it was all downhill from there. But here they've managed to survive 45 minutes at 0-0, but only just. The inside of the post struck by Sise, magnificent effort, but other misses. Herpier headed down, Murphy got it off the line on his return to Anfield, and at half-time here in Liverpool, it is Liverpool 0, Charlton 0.
Today,
well, Phil Thompson is alongside us this afternoon, and he'll give us an interesting insight, certainly into the Liverpool team when we come back. How it's 0-0, we're still not quite sure. It was a real helter-skelter start for Liverpool. They've had 9 attempts, 4 on target, but it remains goalless. Here's the best of the lot from Sise. How close can you get?
In the interest of your safety.
Football on Sky Sports includes Spanish football. Real Madrid against the champions, Claudio Ranieri's team, Valencia. Sky Sports Extra tonight from 8:30. And then tomorrow it's the league leaders Barcelona against Osasuna, who are 6th in La Liga at the moment. That's on Sky Sports 1 from 8 o'clock. Here at Anfield, Phil Thompson's alongside me, and Phil, it's 0-0, but we've no idea how it's 0-0, have we?
I can't believe it. Liverpool came out of the traps very, very quickly, and I can't understand understand, you see that scoreline 0-0 at half-time when they're going off, and it's just not right. You wonder whether there's any justice in the game. In fairness to Charlton, they weathered the storm and they came back, but that first 20 minutes, 25 minutes was quite breathtaking.
Some of the chances they had, and we'll see a lot of them now, some of the chances they've had, they really should have gone in, shouldn't they?
Yeah, and they should have done. That's the thing. You don't mind missing a couple, but when they start coming at a regular time, then it's a problem. Garcia with this, the boy's got great talent. Left foot or right foot, he can take it, and it doesn't mind if he misses one, he'll come back and have another go. This is an Alan Shearer look-alike, another deflection, but that's the way it's going for Jibril Sise at the moment. But that was a tremendous strike, great strike by him.
It was an interesting statistic that Martin came up with in the first half, the fact that Liverpool haven't actually scored a header all season, and the way that they were heading today, you can probably see why, can you?
Yeah, no, a few dice heads in the team at the moment. But there's some great chances. I think two of them are a little bit hard to call, but two of them there was great chances. Garcia goes for this one. That's a little bit hard, but the boy's done well to get in it. This one, Big Sammy, he is that good in the air, that should be in. But Danny, as he did last week against Newcastle, right position, and a lot of teams don't put people on the post, but that's the reason why.
Two from Baros now.
Two from Baros. That one again is a little bit difficult for Milan, trying to get himself right, but should do better, at least hit the target. But no excuses for this one. That is a great chance, and he should be putting that away. Player of his calibre.
Now, Phil, at the beginning of the programme, we talked specifically about Sise and Baros working together. We got an example here of maybe how it could work and maybe doesn't at the moment.
Yeah, they've been working hard to try and make things right, and you can see that in the play. But I think this one here, Sise's got the ball. He should be playing it to Milan Baros quickly. Doesn't. Gets his shot, and now Milan's got the ball. Milan didn't complain about Jibril, but Jibril there, his body language is, you're letting all the fans know as though it's not right. Yeah, maybe Milan should have looked up, but I think if he has a little word with him, then the bonding will be coming a bit better. But letting everybody know that, hey, I'm not happy with what you've just done. Milan could have been exactly the same.
And you were telling me during the first half while we were watching there that this is a very similar scenario to the Deportivo game the other night.
Yeah, it was, because Deportivo, the first half, it should have been 4-0 at half-time. Liverpool were excellent. And then it just creeps in, a little bit of nervousness, start giving the ball away a little bit. And maybe if you want the last 15 minutes, 20 minutes, it's been like that. The pass wasn't as crisp as what it was in that early part. But in fairness, Liverpool should be leading this game in.
Liverpool should be leading perhaps by half-time, but they're not. It's 0-0 between Liverpool and Charlton. Phil Thompson's alongside us, looking at his old club. You should have seen him during the first half. He was exasperated watching some of those misses. It's 0-0, back in a moment. Steve Wigley needs a win. Hasn't got one yet as manager of Southampton. They're playing Birmingham tomorrow, and then it's the big one. It's Manchester United against Arsenal. It's all on Sky Sports 1, and our coverage starts at 1 o'clock. We're halfway through our coverage here at Anfield. It's 0-0 between Liverpool and Charlton. Phil Thompson, former assistant manager with Gerard Houllier, is with us. Look at it from Charlton's point of view. They'll just be relieved, won't they, to have got through that?
Very much so. That first 20 minutes, and I noticed, looking down, I seen Graham Stewart after another effort had been hit on their goal, and he was like that. He was using his hands and he was saying, hey, let's just keep calm.
That was a Liverpool thing. Calm down, calm down.
Well, I didn't want to say those words too much. But no, you could see it, and I think they were relieved. Get that 20-minute marking, and this is what happens in games. Players have to be reminded they're big things, big times in games. First 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Charlton got through that, and they came into the game a little bit if you want, but I think the two front men for Charlton need to keep the ball better, particularly Lisby. Bartlett's not too bad, but I think Liverpool need to get out of the blocks quick again, just to get the momentum up, get the crowd with them.
Let's rejoin our commentators. Brian Marwood's alongside Martin Tyler.
Well, Harry Kewell did an extravagant warm-up at half-time, but he still kept on the bench as both teams come out just looking around without any half-time changes. Liverpool have a good home record down the years against Charlton until, of course, last season. They won 12 of the last 14 meetings on this ground between the two clubs. Lost to Sean Bartlett's goal on Easter Monday. Here is the very self-same Bartlett. losing a tussle with Carragher. Perry's header. Now Murphy. It's noticeable, knowing Danny Murphy so well, Liverpool are really getting around him. And now Chris Perry made absolutely sure Milan Baroš wasn't going to get that. He wasn't on the pace of the ball going to get it before Kylie in any case, but Perry did make some connection, and Bartlett was offside when the ball came through, but Liverpool can play on. The flag went up and went back down again. Chris Perry then?
Well, I just wonder how much of that was Chris Perry and how much Milan Baroš was clever enough to run into the back of Chris Perry, knowing that he might not get the ball. So, you know, it's very early into the second half. Perhaps didn't have enough on the ball to go to the goalkeeper as quickly as perhaps Chris Perry was thinking, but Baroš was onto it very smartly indeed.
Finnan in for the suspended Hosami, who was red carded, of course, at Craven Cottage last Saturday. Murphy. It's a play of more authority from Danny Murphy. Done a good few times against Newcastle last week, but his energy rather spoilt by Romadal here.
That's where Alan Kerbishley and Mervyn Day will be absolutely furious with Dennis Romadal. We've talked about the fact that he possesses an incredible amount of pace, but you need to have a little bit better ball retention. Which Charlton have been under the cosh for the best part of this football match so far, and he needs to be better just keeping the ball.
And he's helped Charlton keep it here. Riison's dropped it over Carragher for Bartlett to chase. Carragher spot on. Doesn't get a lot of praise, but that sort of defensive technique is just as important part as putting the ball in the net, which is of course something that Liverpool are lacking in this match. Sise looking from the right again, reclaimed by Riise. Harman. Wandering mission here, Luis Garcia. Caught Charlton out and was caught by Kevin Lisbie.
It's a position that Lisbie looks as if he's going to adopt for the first part of this second half, and that's to once again make that 5 in midfield and try and make Charlton hard to break down, try and frustrate Liverpool.
Well, there's been some headed chances in the first half. In this position, Luis Garcia is leaving it for Alonso. Move Charlton around a bit, maybe a shot is on. It's too high for Baroš, but Dean Kiley was certainly concerned. Baroš across his eye line, maybe.
It's a terrific ball, but the one thing that I would worry about is why have Charlton dropped so deep? And this is what makes it difficult for the goalkeeper, Dean Kiley. In the end, he's just quite happy to palm the ball away, but they were far too deep there for me.
Garcia's corner, Baroš trying to help it on. It wasn't a great corner. Comes out to Riise. For Sky Digital viewers, of course, the player cam now switching to Djibril Sise via the red button on your remote. Keeping some players on their toes. He's on his own toes, getting ready if the call comes. Harry Kewell came back from Australia, wearied from the trip during the international break and not 100% fit.
Did an elaborate warm-up at half-time, and the problem is you've got to keep him warm. It's interesting now, Garcia has come off on that left-hand side and almost playing just behind now Milan Baroš, and they push Sise over to the right-hand side. So there's a big tactical switch happened within the Liverpool ranks.
Has been made about their defensive marking zones rather than players. It drops for Stewart via Hopier's head. Riise, Romadal offside.
Well, it's a number of times now that players in the yellow shirts are being caught offside. Ramadal just trying to keep that alive, but that's a good 3 or 4 Charlton players in an offside position.
Carragher. Good layoff by Barosh. Harman. Plenty of options to the right, 2 or 3 to Harman's right. Sise, as Brian's pointed out, working from the right-hand side, maybe encouraged by those runs that he had towards the end of the first half.
Well, it's a fascinating tactical battle going on right now, Martin, because both teams are looking to shift players around and trying to get a goal out of it.
And it's blocked down for Harman. A header from Xabi Alonso. Riise scores! 6 minutes into the second half. Liverpool have been peppering away at the Charlton goal. And finally, they hit the back of the Charlton net.
Well, you can't say it hasn't been coming for a long time. And this is fabulous technique. This ball sits up beautifully for Charlton Riise, but he's got an awful lot to do. And that's to maintain his composure, his technique, and then what sort of strike can he get? They actually get lucky the first time because Kevin Lisby does a good job in front of Dean Kiley. Players try to put Charlton Riise under pressure, but he maintains that wonderful composure. He's got such a sweet left foot, and he does rifle it in the back of the net. They're singing his name, and rightly so, because Liverpool certainly deserve to be ahead.
Well, it's a long wait over in this game, but for Riise in particular, February 2003 the last time he scored, and given the power and the punch in his play, it is a surprise that it's taken that long to find his name on the scoreline again. But Alan Kirbishley knew in preparing Charlton there would be shots from the edge of the area. There have been plenty of them, and finally they've succumbed to one. Murphy. Finnan. So Liverpool, maximum points in the Premiership at Anfield this season, and looking to extend that run.
Well, this is a crucial time in the game now, because if Liverpool do get another one, you think it could well be 3 or 4. You know, if Charlton can just see out the next 10 minutes and regain some composure, that'll give Alan Kirbishley the opportunity to just think again tactically about the match. He's got Francis Jeffers on the bench, Jason Ewell also, who can score some vital goals for them, but that's why this next period of the game is so important to both teams.
Never really cleared the danger from being caught by the short corner, Charlton. Keith Peacock's on his own again, because Alan Kirbishley is touchline bound.
Yep, he's done a lot of work, hasn't he, this evening, Alan? He's been up and down those stairs, again thinking, working out how he might just want to change things again. Looked as if he was frustrating Liverpool for long periods, but I think that probably says more about the chances that Liverpool missed rather than how well defensively Charlton had done.
Xabi Alonso. Here's Sise. Attacking the top end. Liverpool always relished this particular part of the famous stadium.
Oh, he's a real threat now, isn't he, on this right-hand side, Djibril Cisse. And we were talking in the first half about Ramadal not going towards the byline. Well, we've just seen there the benefits of Sise, and we can certainly see now the benefits of that wonderful left foot strike from Charlton Riise.
2-1 against Manchester City and 3-0 against West Bromwich Albion and Norwich City. So with a great respect to those clubs, they've not been one of the most testing opening to this campaign at home for Liverpool. And Charlton, with their weakness away from home, spelt out in the goals conceded column. But the job still has to be done today, and they didn't do it in the first half, and it's not complete yet. Lisby can't lift it beyond the long leg of Herpier. Sise. Now Murphy. He's desperate not to leave Liverpool a loser this evening. The busy Barosh.
Very nearly.
Done at top speed, very nearly top class.
Yeah, and Luis Garcia just applauding the perception of Milan Baroš. It's very nearly a superb pass. Well, Baroš has worked incredibly hard, and we talked about the partnership between him and Sise. Might not have hit the high notes just yet, and now it's Baroš and almost Garcia, because Garcia now is playing just behind the striker and causing one or two problems for Charlton. So much so, it looks as if Luke Young, who was earlier playing at right back, was trying to come across and do a job on Garcia earlier. Someone's going to have to pick him up.
Pushed by Carragher on Lisbeth. Well, Danny Murphy might just be eyeing this one up.
Well, that was the end, of course. He cleared off the line in the first 45 minutes, so...
They've taken a few free kicks in training against Chris Kirkland. And Stewart having a word. Riise as well, he's now turned his back on it. Holland's just lurking to the right if they want to go across. A good shout for Traore to let it run. Murphy a bit disappointed maybe with the angle of it, or maybe that his teammates didn't really come piling in.
I think the second one, Martin, because everybody stopped, didn't they? It's not a bad ball. It's one that the goalkeeper's going to struggle to get anywhere near. And I think Danny Murphy has every right to question one or two players in the box.
That's the way it is at the moment. Luis Garcia off Baroš, Sise right, Riise left. Here is Riise. Alonso and Harmanu provide only a steal, screening ability, but also the wherewithal to pass the ball forward perceptively as well.
I think they're both very good technically on the ball, and I can't think of too many occasions where they've wasted possession. So they really do keep prompting and getting Liverpool on the attack whenever possible.
So don't need to go chasing the game as yet. They must, from their point of view, not concede again. And maybe commit a few more players forward in the closing sections of the game. If it stays at 1-0, I think we keep it at 1. That's quite a big if. What they have got, of course, are one or two alternatives from the bench to try and outfox Liverpool. With a striker who is called the Fox in the Box when Arsenal signed him, Franny Jeffers. He'll have to come on here back in his native city. Riise. Should have stopped him, really. It didn't. Holland helped out, as he so often does, responsibly. Charlton skipper. This once or twice, Jamie Carragher getting a bit too tight.
Yeah, I think sometimes, you know, you can't battle with Sean Bartlett. I think he's got good prowess in the air, and I think sometimes you might think of trying to win the second ball rather than the first, and Jamie Carragher's been guilty of that on a couple of occasions. Now, don't forget, we talked about Carragher earlier. You know, he hasn't played as a central defender for that long in his career. He's predominantly been a fullback.
Holland takes. Traore, who can play in the centre, of course, using his height from left back to defend well. Liverpool with some promise. And a move here that's got a bit of sweep to it. Now, can they find a cutting edge at the end of it? Shot by Sise. He wanted to do all the cutting himself. And maybe cut Chris Perry in half. Finnan. He does like playing centre-back, though, Jamie Carragher. Yeah. He's done it sometimes for England as well, although it's very hard at the moment for him to envisage getting in that position in Sven-Göran Eriksson's starting 11. through no fault of his own, incidentally, just the calibre of alternatives. Sise, Finnan, for the first time cross, headed out by Fortune. An hour gone. Liverpool with just the one goal to show from their efforts. It came relatively late in the hour. Certainly a frustrating first half for Rafa Benitez. And some of those frustrations lifted by Arne Riise. Garcia, knew where Fortune was. Fortune wasn't quite sure of his own bearings, and Liverpool have a corner, and up comes Herpia.
Very clever player, isn't it, Luis Garcia? Looking for something a little bit different, wasn't he, with his turn? And now Charlton back on the defensive. Again, won enough corners. Very nearly paid the price in the first half.
As the corner count a bit more accurate, really, on the shape of the match than the scoreline. Carney does come this time, and comes very well. It comes out to Riise again. Flicked off a heel of Fortune. Luis Garcia couldn't get it anywhere near the goal, Milan Baros, and then Chris Perry couldn't get it anywhere near away from the goal.
It's an incredible sequence of events here. Garcia plays a perfect ball into the box his first time, and almost Baros just nonchalantly sticks out his left foot to try and convert that chance.
This time, the shorter corner doesn't work for Liverpool. Well, Franny Jeffers is not going to be welcomed here as a friend, that's for sure, the former Evertonian. He replaces Romadal.
Substitution.
They say that there's a warm relationship between Everton and Liverpool.
Yeah. Welcome back to Liverpool, Francis.
Riise! That's probably going to land in Goodison Park.
Well, that's as far up the Kop as I've ever seen anybody strike a ball. That has gone an awful long way, that. In fact, it's probably still travelling. We talked about some of the ambitious attempts in the first 45 minutes. Well, they don't come more ambitious than that.
Let's have a look at the plan. And now he gets the final words of instruction from Rafa Benitez himself. There's still enough in this game. It's been easy to sit up here and think this is one-sided fair, but it's not one-sided on the scoreline, and indeed the player who has scored is now being taken off.
The 7, Harry Kewell, replacing the 6, Arne Riise.
I wonder whether the manager took a dislike to that steepling volley a few moments ago.
Well, you can only think that Arne Riise may have been struggling a wee bit in the end of the first half, because Harry Kewell did a very extensive warm-up during the half-time interval, and they've kept him warm during the course of this second half. Arne Riise, it's a wonderful strike, so he'll certainly have wonderful memories of this match. But the point that you were making a little bit earlier, Marty, you now have been around this game long enough to know that 1-0 at times is never quite enough.
Especially in this league, Brian. Here's Murphy. Arne Riise has ended his sequence without a goal. Now can Harry Kewell, who goes back to February of this year since he last scored. It was at Leeds United. He hasn't got a Premiership goal at Anfield in the year 2004.
Incredible. You look at the talent that he possesses, and I think if we can see him get back to the form that he showed at Leeds United, that period when they were doing so well in domestically and in Europe, then I'm sure a lot of Liverpool fans and the management team and the rest of the players will be absolutely delighted.
Here's Baros. Slipped by Perry and by Lisby. Finnan. He's already struck his first ever Premiership goal this season, here against West Brom.
Well, it wasn't the best defending, was it, from the Charlton defenders? Initially, Lisby and then Chris Perry, both slipping at vital moments. Does the right thing here, Milan Barros, and certainly Finnan, you can see where he's looking for. He's trying to curl it into that top corner, and he isn't far away, you know, with the execution. But unfortunately, it's always bending away from goal.
That second goal, elusive, like the first one was. And surely it will quash Charlton's hopes here. They did get a 1-1 draw at Birmingham at an away point this season. Xabi Alonso pulling some strings in midfield. You can watch him attempt to continue to do that via the player cam if you're a Sky Digital viewer. Can't get the ball, Charlton, can they?
No, it's been fairly emphatic, hasn't it? And the only thing that hasn't been emphatic is the scoreline, and that is a deliberate handball. I just wonder what sort of action the referee might be cajoled into taking from the Liverpool fans, because as you would expect, the reception that Francis Jeff has got when he stepped over that white line to deliberately handball, and clearly the fans are going to bring that to the attention of the referee.
Well, he's a lucky lad, as he's certainly seeking to gain an advantage, and here comes Carragher. And Graham Stewart would love to be trying to shape something for Charlton in the Liverpool half, having to do his tracking back. He'll have to do a bit more than that now as Kuhl enters the game. Lisby. Put on by Luis Garcia, steered on by Barros. Sise. Perry trying to back off, give himself a yard, worried about the pace of Sise. It's now got to come from a standing start, it's never quite so easy. Finnan. Xabi Alonso. Still a quarter of the game to go. Charlton hanging on in the contest, not much more than that. Kuhl. Traore.
Done well, hasn't he, on that left-hand side. Traore tried to support initially John Riise, now it's Harry Kuhl on that side. Of course, a player that was going to move over Stanley Park to Everton, but it didn't go through.
I think Traore said, if you can keep me involved in the first team squad, I don't want to go. I'm happy at Liverpool, and that was the if, but Rafa Benitez gave him some assurances. And he's in the team, pushing again, and out by fortune.
Couple of bone-crunching tackles, hasn't he, today, Luke Young? But, I'm just looking at this Charlton side now, and we're almost getting to the 70-minute mark, and thinking how many of them have got belief about getting something out of this football match, because that's what it's about now. You know, they really have been under the cosh. There's a lot of players, and Danny Murphy, Matt Holland, a lot of experience, but amongst them, you just wonder how many of them think there's a goal here for them.
Jeffers running the gauntlet again. He might not get away with this one.
Well, he's testing the patience of the referee, and I think that patience has finally snapped. That's his second offence, although Francis Jeffers may not have argued with the first one for the handball. He's certainly arguing about this particular challenge.
Red carded in a game here at Merseyside Derby, playing for Everton, where I think 3 players were sent off. Rafa's got involved with the then Liverpool goalkeeper Sonde Vesterveld. That was trying to make a point, I think, but the wrong kind of point. Andy D'Ursay's made his point, and there are 20 minutes to go. Barros. He's been wondering quite how he hasn't managed a goal so far today. It's it back from Sise. gone out. Can the assistant making the referee's mind up for him?
I have to say, you know, Barros might not have got on the score sheet, and he's missed some gilt-edged opportunities, but his work rate is incredible. He never has stopped putting defenders under pressure.
Jason Ewell is coming on as Charlton try to find an equaliser here. He's replacing Sean Bartlett, who hasn't had a lot of senior action recently. It's only his second game of his comeback.
17, Sean Bartlett.
Bartlett, who's scored in the last two visits of Charlton to Anfield, hasn't made it a hat-trick today.
Looks like Jason Ewell's going to play as a striker alongside Francis Jeffers. We've seen him for the majority of the last few years as a midfield player. I wonder whether Alan Kirbishley would have been tempted to stick Kevin Lisby up alongside Franny Jeffers, but looks as if Ewell's got the nod.
Yeah, Lisby stayed left. He had a knack, Jason Ewell, didn't he, as a converted midfield player from a forward, of timing those runs, but he seems to have deserted him, and it's cost him his place in the Charlton lineup. There's a lot more competition for jobs in midfield this season, but here he is swinging, and it's at least a shot from Charlton's point of view. Reminder of Sunday's doubleheader, Southampton against Birmingham, starting at Sky Sports 1, and Manchester United against Arsenal, with Stephen Gerrard, one of the studio guests, the Liverpool captain, is having to do a bit of sitting out on all counts at the moment. That damaged foot, which actually happened, of course, the injury at Old Trafford. He's brave enough to go back and will enjoy his company, and I'm sure you will tomorrow. Be good to have a neutral point of view. Manchester United against the Gunners. Well, they've got another Scouser on the bench in Brian Hughes, who, unlike Jeffers, has an allegiance with Anfield. Not in his professional capacity, of course. Well, Barros picked out by Sise. Made the angle wider, and Sise looks down again.
Well, it wasn't the best defenders that allowed Milan Barros that little bit of time and room. I just thought he should have taken it first time, Martin. Would have been the better opportunity.
Oh, Luis Garcia. And that should really put Charlton out of their misery. Still 17 minutes to go. But he's buried it beyond Dean Kiley.
Well, we talked about this young man potentially becoming a big favourite here at Anfield. Well, I'll tell you what, Martin, if he keeps scoring goals like this, he will be a massive favourite. You know, he almost looks around and thinks, well, why not? I'll try this myself. But again, have a look at the Charlton defenders. No one puts him under pressure. And when they do, it's Jonathan Fortune. It's almost a token gesture. And that's a tremendous strike. And Dean Kiley has no chance, because that's got unerring accuracy and incredible pace.
Well, here's one foreign player who settled in very quickly to life at Liverpool. And he shows he can use his right foot. Finnan. Well, Alan Kirbishley has chopped and changed tactics, personnel, but really hasn't changed the shape of the game. It's been pretty much one-way traffic. Here goes Cure. Corner. Concentration even harder for Charlton now. They might just now be thinking this could be another 4. against them away from home. Liverpool have got 15 minutes to double their advantage. Both sides waiting to make a change. More on that in a moment, because the short corners have come to Finnan. Another corner.
Certainly going into the last quarter of this game, and I think when you look at the amount of attempts that Liverpool have had, the amount of corners they've had, they certainly deserve to be 2-0 ahead, and it could quite easily have been more.
Milan Baros, who's lacked nothing for energy and effort, and really should have had a goal or two to embroider all his good work and the build-up. Laurent Cinema Pongol, who had a birthday on Wednesday, he was a 20. Finnan. Luis Garcia again. Our man got across. Well, Brian Hughes was getting ready at 1-0 down. He comes on at 2-0 down.
Number substituting for Charlton. Leaving the field.
Kevin Lesby's had to feed off scraps when he was up front and trying to do a job in a wider midfield position, but they've been distinctly second best here, Charlton Athletic, today.
Yeah, I mean, Alan Kirbysley is a very honest manager, and I'm sure his assessment of the game will be one that he will give full credit, total credit to the play of Liverpool, because they have been outstanding.
Hughes. Stewart. Ewell. The flag's up, Jeffers is in there, Young is in there. And there's still time, totally against the shape of the game, but if they nicked one, who knows how Liverpool would react. It would certainly ask a question of their application.
Well, certainly borderline as far as Luke Young was concerned, but perhaps a little bit too late for Charlton Athletic now. And you talked earlier about, is there anybody there with a yellow shirt to have belief? Well, I think most of them have probably with the belief of just trying to hang on.
Cinema Pongo. Kuhl to Cinema Bongo. Comes to Sise. To feed the header in towards little Luis Garcia. Coming across. Liverpool still on their beat defensively. Shutouts count as much for defenders as goals do for strikers. Sise. There might be more goals in this for Liverpool. Perry struggling to stay with Djibril Cisse. And so too are some of his teammates.
Well, he's made a big difference, hasn't he, on this right-hand side. It's just pure pace. And Chris Perry, who's no slouch, really struggled to keep pace with Cisse. And just those driving runs on this right-hand side has given Charlton another problem to deal with.
Liverpool started this game as the only team in the top 4 divisions with a 100% home record after Brentford were beaten by Blackpool at home today. There's no sign of a slip-up this evening at Anfield in extending that run. Maybe a close one.
Yeah, I mean, that was better from Harry Kewell because he really picked that ball up and was looking to drive, but that's tight, isn't it? It really is a marginal decision. Just have a look there, the defender, arm in the air. That always does the referee's assistant. It started at Arsenal, under George Graham. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of defenders up and down the country who've got a lot of success since.
I've seen you once or twice, Brian, in that back line a few years ago, dropping in and helping out with your arm in the air as well.
I didn't used to spend that much time there.
But they're grasping at anything, really, to keep Liverpool at bay, Charlton, and to keep this scoreline respectable. As it stands, it would be their lowest away defeat of the season.
Yeah, it's been almost at times a damage limitation exercise, and you know, they've dug in and all the things you talk about Charlton possessing, you know, spirit, determination, good organisation, and that's all being tested today, because this has been a very good Liverpool performance. Take nothing away from that. I don't think Charlton have been at their best, but Liverpool haven't allowed them to be at their best, and from the first half and now in the second half, they've created chance after chance, the home team.
Murphy just catching Xabi Alonso. Now, unless there's a real catastrophe for Liverpool in the time that remains, it'll be back-to-back Premiership victories. They are building under Benitez.
Yeah, they are, and I think we saw the table at the top of the programme, and you know, they're going to win this game today, and they've still got a game in hand, you know, and that really can propel them towards the top four.
Well, they'd be fifth tonight,
yeah,
and obviously there are some games tomorrow that will maybe change that before the weekend's work is done in the Premiership.
But you can see, can't you, that what he's trying to do, you know, the semblance of the pattern, the structure of the team. Some very clever players, and I like this fellow on the ball, Alonso. You know, he really has been so accurate in possession. Garcia has been a bundle of energy. You know, Barros has worked tremendously hard. Sise, a quality striker. So there's enough there to keep a lot of defences on their toes.
Harry Kewell might just have got a corner out of that. Favourite to come up with it, and Luke Young wasn't very happy with the nature of it.
The one thing, you know, that's impressed me as well about this Liverpool side, and people talked about it when Gerard Houllier was here. There was a lot of talent in the side. The one thing I like is there seems to be that steely determination. We saw it when Sise pulled something out of nothing in the first half, where he just chased a hopeful ball. We've just seen it there from Harry Kewell.
It's a Liverpool corner. Stewart controls it and clears it with the help of Jeffers. Now Young. Moving out to make the initial challenge, and plenty around to help to cover, with the centre-back going a little bit astray from his usual position. And they're still wanting to move forward again on the counter-attack, although Kewell warned about the approaches of Stewart. Some 10,000 voices on that far side. In command, Liverpool at Anfield. Riise gets a foot in. Now Hughes. Riise, Hughes there again. Really get any controlled possession there for Charlton. They've had precious little in the second half. It could have been completely cut apart in the opening 20 minutes, but Liverpool have found the goals in the second period.
Well done, Luke Young. Read the situation very well. Garcia's trying to play that through ball into the path of Cinema Pongol, and Young covering around very effectively.
Runs for Murphy. And Stewart, who has a birthday tomorrow, but I promised him I wouldn't say how old he was. You can look it up in your football reference books, get on the websites and check. But happy birthday to Graham. It hasn't been a very happy day for Charlton today. Probably been a happy day for Andy D'Urso, though, to be back refereeing in the Premiership after his suspension.
I was saying it about it earlier, though. Martin hasn't had too many difficult decisions to make, shall we say. You know, it's a fairly good-natured good spirited game, and Didi Hamann there getting involved with a couple of tussles, initially with Jason Ewell, and then Francis Jeffers comes across and certainly catches him very high up the shin.
Did commit a really terrible tackle here against Norwich City, didn't he, Didi Hamann? And he's punished only this time by a free kick, which Murphy takes. He's put it in the same sort of area again, and he turns away again with the same sort of disappointment. That's clearly something that is designed by Charlton on the training ground.
It's a terrific ball, Martin, because what it does is it takes out the goalkeeper. And really that's when you're looking for a couple of players just to really work hard to get across the face of a defender and try and score. That hadn't happened.
So Jimmy Traore comes off to give Stephen Warnock a bit more of his education in the senior side. There's another left-sided player. They've had Traore and Riise, and now they've got Warnock and Kuehl. There's a lot of people connected with Liverpool Football Club are delighted that Warnock's made this progress. Had a lot of injuries, 2 broken legs. He's always had a huge amount of character, which he showed playing for Coventry last season.
Yeah, I think we were talking earlier on about the experience that a lot of young players can get by playing first-team football rather than perhaps sitting around in the reserves, and I think that's exactly what's happened to Stephen Warnock.
As he played more than 40 games for Coventry, I think. That was very special. Here is Garcia again.
Well, I'll tell you what, we thought his goal was spectacular. Well, that certainly would have got goal of the season, and that isn't far away. That's marginal. Just have a look how close that is. That is fabulous technique. It really was. Dean Kiley looks anxiously there.
It's almost Marco van Basten 1988, isn't it? The
good spot.
Famous Euro final goal for the great Dutchman, who's now back in football as the head coach of the Holland national team. Hughes, handball by Hamann. Stewart. Similar goal, gets the foot in. Mention his birthday. He's actually born on the same date, not the same year, of course, as the great Ian Rush. That was a great tackle by Fortune. The referee is him to get away with it. He was very close, much closer than us, Andy D'Urso, but it certainly looked as though Sise was mown down. Holland. Hughes cut out by Xabi Alonso. Well, Charlton must have come here expecting a difficult afternoon. In that sense, they haven't been disappointed, but they will be looking back on quite how they didn't get into the game at the start, and Liverpool, although they didn't take advantage of all those chances they created in that opening 20 minutes or so, certainly set the agenda for the rest of the evening.
Yeah, as you rightly said, you know, the agenda was very much Liverpool on the attack from the first minute, and full credit to the home side because they haven't let up right the way through this football match. Have created chance after chance. The pace of the game has been such that Charlton really have struggled to hang on, and I don't think even 2-0 is a fair reflection really of how well Liverpool have played.
Down by Liverpool. Charlton got the second ball through Holland, but although they had 6 players forward, they couldn't make the most of it, and too far forward here is the frustrated Djibril Cisse. Certainly wears his heart on his sleeve.
Yep.
Hughes.
There will be a minimum of 2 minutes added time. 2 minutes.
Added minutes. Ewell. Charlton 2-0 down. Pollard, Murphy. Now Hughes. Rafa Benitez in his technical area, almost sort of conducting his team into the shape. There's a lot of drilling going on into how he wants them to play. I mentioned the different type of marking at set pieces, but generally the shape of the team as well. It doesn't happen overnight, and it really does help if you can do it through a series of good results, and Liverpool are certainly getting them here at Anfield.
Well, the great sides play with a lot of great pace and great determination, and I think Liverpool have had those ingredients today. You know, we all know how technically good these players are, but if you're playing at a pace that doesn't allow the other side to get possession of the ball, and then when you get it, you're very clever, and that's exactly what's happened today, and they really have created chance after chance, and Liverpool fans, you can see how they've enjoyed watching their team play this season, especially here at Anfield. I'm not sure what goes wrong on their travels, but certainly here, 4 out of 4.
Yes, there have been a few false dawns since the Championship was last won in 1990, so I don't think anyone will be getting too carried away, but we'll look at the teams above them and see the sort of standards being set by the Arsenal of this generation. Chelsea with all their money. But Liverpool themselves used to lay down for others for year after year. Well, they've certainly set standards too high for Charlton today. The 100% home record goes on. The win was secured by a spectacular goal, a stunner from Luis Garcia, rapidly becoming a new Anfield favourite. Riise got the important first one and ended a long barren run for him personally. But Charlton, they're still unproductive away from home, even with Danny Murphy in their ranks. But remember, Liverpool with a game in hand are moving up the league. They're 5th tonight. Rafa Benitez is making progress here, and the home record is certainly helping. They've beaten Charlton at Anfield by 2-0.
Thanks very much indeed, Martin. Just confirmation of what Martin was saying there with the table. Liverpool with that game in hand up to 5th, and their home record in the Premiership, 12 points out of 12. In the bottom half, Charlton stay 11th. Their away form pretty dire. 1 point out of 15. They've conceded 15 goals in those games, and that's the worst record in the Premiership. Coming up, of course, the football tomorrow. It starts. Richard Keys and company will be with you from 1 o'clock for Southampton against Birmingham. And then we were speaking of birthdays, it's Wayne Rooney's 19th tomorrow. How will he react for one of the biggest games in his career? Will he be playing? Must be. Manchester United against Arsenal. And that's all on Sky Sports 1. Phil Thompson has been our guest throughout this evening's fair, and we'll get his opinion when we come back. As we mentioned, it's been a fantastic season at home for Liverpool so far. They are officially the best home team in the country. Welcome back. Boris Johnson is safely back in London, and Liverpool and Everton have both won, so Merseyside is very, very happy this evening. Let's hear from the winning manager and also the man of the match. They're both with Mark Bolton.
Rafa, was that your best performance of the season?
First half, I think that we have a lot of opportunities, and it's a good, but we play well against Fulham. Second half also at home we are playing well very many games.
Couldn't seem to hit the target, couldn't seem to get the shot, get that goal, could you? There was a problem making chances, but does that concern you?
Sometimes it's the goalkeeper, sometimes you need, when you shoot, target, then okay, next time.
Are you confident out there, Xabi, that you will get the goals because the chances were created today?
Yeah, we have to be confident. We know that, for example, against Deportivo we had many chances, but we didn't score. On the first half, it has happened the same, but in the second half we have scored, and at the end it was very important for the result.
You've said that your team are playing to 60% of what you want. What was that? 70%, 80%? It was better than 60%.
No, we only give a new step, and each game we try to do better.
up to 5th tonight, and with a game in hand, you must be very pleased.
Yeah, if you play and you win, you must be pleased. Yeah, sure.
This man was the man of the match today. Would you present the award for us?
Okay, no problem.
Congratulations, well done.
Okay. Thank you.
Phil Thompson, of course, was working here with Gerard Houllier last season. What do you make of this team compared to the one you had last season?
I think what they're doing, which we found difficult in a way, was winning the home games. A number of occasions we had a lot of the ball and we couldn't score the goals, as it maybe wasn't the first half. But I think this team is a little bit more variation. I'm looking at Luis Garcia, and he seems to be the catalyst at home. He can bring things and he can do things, as we've seen with the goal, and we'll see again. But away from home, he doesn't seem to create that magic, and sometimes he goes missing in the away games. And you think, is he the one? Is he the real, that playmaker, the one who can make things happen? Because he's certainly done it here. The fans love him here at Anfield, and some of the goals he scored and some of the chances he's created has been fantastic.
John-Arne Riise had quite an interesting game, didn't he?
Yeah, he did too. John played quite well, but he was getting maybe a lack of confidence at the moment. And
has he got a right foot?
Well, he should have took his chance there. You don't know whether you're good with your left foot or right foot or not. He should have hit that ball.
Yeah, that was a sighter in the second half for what was to come, and here it is.
Without a doubt. John, when it is outside, you can see him getting his body shape, getting himself around the ball. Great, another headed chance for Xabi Alonso, but John gets his body around the ball to get onto his favoured left foot, and you just see it here. You just see it's not right for him at the minute, gets himself right round it, and I think Kylie is unsighted there, and he's got no chance of getting that.
Yeah, so he's run round, it's all left foot, but if you can score like that, it doesn't matter.
Not half.
The second goal was another splendid shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a great goal, and you see it, and I think it was Franny Jeffers lost the ball in the midfield, and I don't think Charlton reacted quick enough just here. And you see Luis Garcia, he just drifted out, and he likes that position in the middle of the pitch, in between midfield. I tell you, that is an absolute...
Which is his best foot?
I don't know, because I was talking to you, watching the game. He hits it well with his left foot, he hits it well with his right foot, because he had one with his left foot in the first half, which went wide. But that is a great strike. No, you could have two goalkeepers in there. They are not going to stop that. It comes from wide right, and it just drifts inside that post. Kylie has absolutely no chance.
Brian Marford was saying that if he'd got this next effort in, it would have been goal of the season, goal of the decade.
Well, maybe a few of us. A lot of people mightn't have remembered Marco van Basten, the younger ones, but this wasn't. It went through my mind, and I think it was Martin who called it. This is a great effort. You watch this, and sometimes you wish things would go in, because that is... The boy has got tremendous talent, tremendous technique, and if that had gone in, that would be goal. You could wrap it up goal of the season.
What do you think Alan Kirbishley feels about Charlton's away form, which last season was actually quite good? 1 point from 15 this season.
I think he'd be very disappointed. I don't think they showed the heart and the passion. They got through that early part, 20-25 minutes, where everything went well for them. And as I said to you at half-time, he'll be looking now to get past the first 15 minutes of the second half. Lo and behold, Liverpool score very, very quickly, 5 minutes after half-time, and then you can see the confidence drain out of them a little bit.
Quick word on Danny Murphy. How did he get on today for you?
Danny did all right, but I could see him chasing all the time, and after that early spell, I think he was a bit lost. Liverpool were flashing the ball around. Xabi Alonso, I think, is a great passer of the ball, and everything was just a bit too quick, not only for Danny Murphy but for the whole of the Charlton team.
Okay, and you are obviously a stern believer in Liverpool's pace. When they're passing quickly and they're working teams, that's when they're at their most effective.
That's just before half-time, I felt the pace of the pass had slowed down a little bit, and I felt they needed to pick that up. And I say Didier Mann and Xabi Alonso, they're the main ones, particularly Alonso, and I noticed that they were getting the ball. Even when it went backwards, he passed it very quickly, and that set the tempo again. The goal helps, of course, but I thought it was a great Liverpool performance, and it would be a travesty if they didn't get the 3 points today.
Final word about tomorrow's game at Old Trafford. Who do you fancy for that? Don't sit on the fence, come on.
No, I won't sit on the fence. I think Manchester United can do it.
Why?
I just feel, as I seen with Liverpool a few weeks ago, they can raise the game for the big games. I don't think they've been firing on all cylinders, but games like this, they can create that thing. But I think they'll need to score in the 89th minute.
We'll find out. Thanks very much for being our guest
My
tonight.
pleasure, Ian.
Phil Thompson, who's been with us throughout the evening. Coming up then on Sky Sports, well, it's Chelsea-Blackburn. That's the main match on Football First, and then followed by whatever you want. Just use that red button. Real Madrid against Valencia, 8:30, Sky Sports Extra. Lots of other sport. Australia, New Zealand now, that's Tri-Nations Rugby League. Blue Bulls against Cheetahs, that's the Currie Cup. There's golf, the Funai Classic, 9 o'clock Sky Sports 3, or there's the semi-finals of the World Grand Prix Darts. That's next on Sky Sports 2. Charlton's away record is very poor this season, but here it's Fortress Anfield for Liverpool. Good night.